Hey everybody, it's Dr. Christine Kaczmar. Welcome to Smart Digestion Radio. This is episode 23.
What do you get when you cross Albert Einstein with digestive enzymes and a fistful of kale? Smart Digestion Radio with Dr. Christine Kaczmar, the all things diet, nutrition, vitality show for the wellness-minded.
Hey there, welcome on into episode 23, and today I'm going to be doing some Q&As. So I'm going to be answering a lot of questions that I get, and if this kind of thing interests you, make sure that you join my private Facebook group, my little inner circle. We call it the Healthy Rebels. So Dr. Christine's Healthy Rebels, how do you get access? Just go to healthyrебelsfb.com, and it'll give you like your name and your email, and then I allow you in. It's pretty simple. So let's get into today's Q&As. All right, so my first question today is from Mike, and Mike says, Dr. Christine, I was just told that I am pre-diabetic. This is a surprise because I don't eat sweets, buy sugar, or eat food with sugar added. I've used agave in my coffee, and for baking, agave, as you probably already know, is recommended for diabetics to use. So besides losing weight and eating a healthy diet, what else can I do to prevent diabetes from occurring? So this is a really great question, Mike. It sounds like you're doing a lot right. However, agave is not a sweetener that I would ever endorse. It's got some high fructose corn syrup-like properties, the way that it's processed. So not a fan of agave. I would remove that from the diet. But, you know, one of the things that people need to be aware of is that the monopoly of the pharmaceuticals is pretty disturbing. And so food companies, too, do some really sinister things. So companies like Splenda, like aspartame, they're very high contributors to the diabetes associations out there. So understand that, okay? Of course, they're going to want to be big contributors because they're trying to like make their products seem like it's what a diabetic should consume, when in fact, Splenda in this example is damaging of the DNA. It messes with your body's ability to heal. It messes with so many different things, Splenda does. So if you're listening and you're diabetic and you're taking Splenda, this is not something that's healthy for you. So even though you're diabetic, you need real sugar too, just less of it. We all could use less of it, especially refined stuff. But one thing that really saddens me, and again, this is why the medical model is broken, is because a lot of confusion is out there and a lot of people think that they're doing something good for themselves or healthy for themselves, when in fact, it's the opposite. So Splenda, agave, not a good call. My sugar sources I would recommend would be good old-fashioned organic cane sugar, just less of it, maple syrup, raw honey, again, less of it. And when I say maple syrup, I mean the real stuff, not the stuff that's high in high fructose corn syrup. And by the way, guys, high fructose corn syrup, if you have skin tags, okay, it's because you're drinking too much pop or soda if you're from somewhere out of Michigan or out of Canada. We call it pop. Notice that, okay? So there is a definite correlation with high fructose corn syrup consumption, so sugary pops and things like that, to skin tags. So there's definitely some liver stress going on there. So that's my answer to your question so far about the agave, Mike. But the other thing I would say is make sure that you're not having bread, grains, this kind of thing. I would definitely add cinnamon to your mix because cinnamon does absolutely help the pancreas. It helps to clean the beta cells of the pancreas, which actually produce insulin. The other thing I will say is make sure you're having a diet that has plenty of fat and protein. Protein actually makes insulin. So insulin, hemoglobin, serotonin, dopamine, these are foods that are derived from the protein in your diet. So clearly a low-carb diet is what we should be doing, not a low-fat diet. So the low-fat diet back from the 80s and 90s has caused a lot of problem with people. So it sounds to me like you're doing a lot of other things right. I don't think that, you said besides losing weight and eating a healthy diet, what else can I do besides that? So definitely exercise is important here. Definitely making sure you're including onions and garlic. Everybody listening, whether you're pre-diabetic or otherwise, should be including onions and garlic. Onions have allicin and they have quercetin, which are very amazing for bioflavonoids and anti-cancer fighting, antimicrobial, anti-parasitic. There's just so much goodness that comes from garlic and onions. In my opinion, garlic is the king of all. So incorporate that and get that agave out of the mix. Also stay hydrated. 96 ounces of water. You know, people say half your body weight. There's so many different schools of thought, but just try to get to 3 quarts of water per day, and don't drink that so close to food. So you don't want to dilute your digestive power. Most of your liquid or water should be half an hour or more before you eat. All right, next question we get is from Heather. Heather says, what can be taken naturally to heal esophagitis? So Heather, any kind of esophagitis, which is inflammation of the esophagus, whether it's acid reflux, heartburn, this kind of answer I'm going to provide is going to be the same. So understand that drugs that are called proton pump inhibitors, which are your heartburn meds like Protonix, Nexium, Prilosec, omeprazole, and so forth, these are very damaging drugs. There's a recent study that came out which talks about how you have a high increase of stroke risk by taking this nonsense like Protonix, Nexium, Prilosec. So I'm very concerned for anybody out there listening who is taking a proton pump inhibitor. Understand, okay, the way that the body works is very majestic. And when you take these prescription drugs, you are messing with Mother Nature. So as an example, for esophagitis, if you have inflammation of the esophagus, really we should be reflecting about why is that there? Why do you have esophageal inflammation? What's causing it? Okay? Versus the medical model, which is broken, which wants to just throw a prescription medication at a symptom all day long. It's not going to happen. Okay, I've often used the metaphor of a garbage dump full of rats. If I have a garbage dump full of rats, a typical medical doctor will look at that problem and think, okay, problem of the rats. Garbage dump full of rats, let's kill the rats. And off they go killing the rats. That's the medical paradigm. A wellness approach or a wellness paradigm like my approach is, if I have a garbage dump full of rats, the problem is not the rats, is it? It's the garbage. That's the problem with which the rats have been attracted. So to get to the real root cause, in my metaphor here, my example, it's to clean up and remove the garbage. By cleaning up and removing the garbage, the rats will go somewhere else. So that's getting to the root cause. So back to Heather's question about esophagitis, or whether it's bloating, or whether it's constipation, or whether it's Crohn's disease, we need to look back at what's causing this. And there are 8 phases of stress. There are 8 phases of digestive stress. I welcome you to check out my video and my free download, by going to bit.ly/8 phases stress, bit.ly/8 phases stress, and take a look at that video because I break it down for you. So looking at cause, these 8 phases is right in line with that. So the very first cause of any kind of stress like esophagitis or anything else is our diet is wrong. Or we're eating foods that we cannot digest. That's why we need digestive enzymes like Smart Carb. Okay, my formula you can find at omegadigestion.com. Smart Carb. So an enzyme is a special protein. It's a food. It's not a medicine. And an enzyme's job primarily are 2 as far as my work is concerned. And that is, first, a digestive enzyme is going to get in there and it's going to digest your food up to 80% after 1 hour of eating. This means a lot of energy now is freed up in the body. Instead of digesting that food, it's already been done. We need digestive enzymes because we eat a heat-treated diet, meaning cooked food. Foods that have been cooked over 118 degrees Fahrenheit. Enzymes are now gone, they're killed. So we're eating a heat-treated diet, no enzymes. So now the second point of enzymes is to heal the immune system. And so when we're eating foods that are cooked, baked, pasteurized, whatever, over 118 degrees Fahrenheit, there are no enzymes present. That's a stress. And now the healing enzymes of the gut have to give up healing enzymes to digesting that food. Even if you eat raw these days, and raw means not been cooked over 118, so it's under 118. An apple, a piece of romaine lettuce, an orange, an avocado. These are still considered raw. However, I still recommend taking digestive enzymes with these foods as well because you need help digesting the fiber or the cellulose, so you need cellulase, but also because the radiation that's going on as our food supply enters the country and so on and so forth. This degrades the enzyme content as well. So to really answer this question about how to naturally heal esophagitis, it first starts with, what's my diet like? Am I eat heat-treated food? If I am, I should be taking a digestive enzyme. But also, what's going on with my digestion, right? What's going on with my digestion? Am I wearing away the mucosal lining of my esophagus? Am I wearing away the protective mucosal lining of my stomach? If so, then add back nutritional herbs, which are mucus forming, like papaya leaf, like marshmallow root, like slippery elm, like digestive enzymes, which are foods as well, as I've stated. So it really is about finding out what's the true cause and how do we reverse it in a natural way. And food is what really can do this. Food is the real medicine. Let me just have a disclaimer here. I am not your doctor. I'm not telling you to stop taking your prescription medications. I'm not for medications in most instances, but don't get me wrong here. I am not saying stop your medicine because you're listening to Dr. Christine on our podcast. I'm saying research all that you can about these things and come to a better conclusion. And maybe that will be coming off of them ultimately. But I am not a medical doctor, so therefore I cannot dispense, quotes, medical advice. It's not something I can, quote, dispense, but I can dispense common sense, and that's what I will continue to do. Great question there, Heather. All right, everybody, it's that time of the show where I take a quick pause to hear from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. All right, everybody, this episode is brought to you by Omega Digestion, OmegaDigestion.com. This is my company. It's Dr. Formulated, custom formulated products. I have 3 products in my line right now. If you'd like to learn more about them, go to bit.ly/Omega Profile. That's bit.ly/Omega Profile. At Omega Digestion, our mission is to bring plant-based enzyme nutrition and healing botanicals out of the perplexing chemistry class and into the mainstream lunchrooms and family tables. We are working to reintroduce the essential necessities food has on healing, repairing, and nourishing our bodies. By developing an effective, filler-free, and affordable product line, we aim to support the incredible importance digestive health has on millions of people. To check out our 3 products, go to OmegaDigestion.com/smart for a special offer. That's OmegaDigestion.com/smart. All right, Fabi says, what are good tasting herbs to put in for juicing or for your smoothie? So this is a great question. My favorite green herb is cilantro. I think underneath my Caucasian skin, I am an Indian, Asian Indian. I love Indian cuisine. I kind of say that a lot, so everybody probably already knows that too. But anyway, I love cilantro. It just makes me happy inside. So one of the juices that you'll find in the 4daycleanse.com, my 4-day cleanse program, I'll just give you away the recipe to one of the drinks. It's cilantro, organic. Okay, you want to get organic. Organic bunch of cilantro, 4 organic celery stalks, and 1 cucumber. You juice that up. That's an amazing green drink. And guys, listening, please stop putting so much fruit into your juices. Okay, if you're going to put them in a smoothie, that's different because you're blending up the peel and everything else, and you have more fiber, pectin, things like that that are going to release into the bloodstream slower. The blood sugar is going to release into the bloodstream slower, right? But when you juice fruit, you're getting that quick burst of sugar into your bloodstream so fast, and you don't want to do that. So look more into removing and omitting the fruit in your juices. And try doing more green juices, like I've just stated with this example. So a bunch of cilantro, 4 celery stalks, and a cucumber. You can do a half a cucumber if it's a really large one, but all organic. Also, you could do parsley, Fabi. Parsley would be good to do, but you wouldn't want to do a lot of parsley, and pregnant women, be careful with that. I'm not so sure how much I buy into that, but still, there's a big known attachment to you don't want to eat too much parsley when you're pregnant. So, but again, what would be the real amount of parsley someone would have to consume for there to be danger? That just, it's interesting, right? Monica asks, Dr. Christine, what kind of protein drink do you recommend? My favorite protein are eggs. So I like eggs, but again, I'm not asking just to drink a bunch of eggs, but hemp protein would be my next favorite choice. I think that it's an amazing complete profile of amino acids hemp is. And by the way, guys, I'm not a fan of stevia. I think stevia in our lifetime is going to be something that people stop consuming so much. I'm a big fan of old-fashioned organic cane sugar, raw honey, maple syrup, things like this. I know this is not your question, but the problem is that so many protein drinks out there are made with stevia. Every single time I have stevia, I don't care how great the product is, how close to the leaf it is, I get a headache. And I'm not alone there. There are quite a few people who get the same feeling, that same sensation. It's almost like a brain foggy kind of headache. So I don't like stevia. I don't trust it. I think that we're getting cute with trying to fake the blood-brain barrier and try to fake out the bloodstream. And I think, you know what? Stick to things like organic cane sugar, maple syrup, raw honey, coconut sugar, date sugar. These are better alternatives to that question. So having said that, Monica, if you're asking me for a protein drink, I'm not looking for it to taste really sugary. Okay, so if you have like a scoop of hemp protein from Nutiva, which is a company I really respect, N as in Nancy, UTIV as in Victor A, Nutiva, it's not going to taste great if you just have it by itself. So mask that with some blueberries, some strawberries, a little bit of a banana, some almond butter, some cashew butter, and then your coconut water or just regular water. So that's what I would say with that. Next question. Tony says, is it possible to completely use only food instead of supplements? This is a great question. It is possible depending on where in the world you live. If you're living in one of the blue zones are areas of the world where people live well into their 100s and they're doing a lot of things right. They are, gardening, they're making their own food, they're eating their own food, there's no processed food, there are no McDonald's, right? In that regard, the soil is being turned and it's not been manipulated with genetically modified crops. Yes. However, an American, for the most part, this is something that's going to be tricky. I would not be without my digestive enzymes. I would not be without my whole plant-based vitamins and minerals. The answer is, it depends. It depends on where you live, but for the most part, for example, an American, I don't think that yes, you can go about your life without taking supplements, right? But I'm saying, are you going to get your full benefit with just the food supply alone? I think that's hard to do. I think things are changing. And so I think that they're going to be changing back to healthier. So that's nice. But for right now, I still would supplement. Sherry asks, she says, you briefly touched about cortisol releasing and dumping fat in your arteries. Can you explain that process a bit? This is a great question, because what people don't realize is that stress can clog your arteries. And so what happens is if you are under any kind of long-term emotional stress, your adrenals secrete the stress hormone cortisol. And if that stress hormone cortisol is not properly removed from your body, your bloodstream, it will lay down as fat in your arteries. It can cause and stress those arteries. And so there's an article just about this exact thing in sciencemag.org. I'll make sure that I include that in the show notes for you so that you can go ahead and take a look. But reading from this article, it says that the new finding is surprising, says physician and atherosclerosis researcher Alan Tall of Columbia University, who was not involved in the new study. Quote, the idea has been out there that chronic psychosocial stress is associated with increased cardiovascular disease in humans, but what's been lacking is a mechanism, he notes. Epidemiological studies have shown that people who face many stressors, from those who survive natural disasters to those who work long hours, are more likely to develop atherosclerosis, the accumulation of fatty plaques inside blood vessels. In addition to fats and cholesterols, the plaques contain monocytes and neutrophils. These are immune cells that cause inflammation in the walls of blood vessels. And when the plaques break loose from the walls where they are lodged, they can cause more extreme blockages elsewhere, leading to stroke or heart attack. So listen, if I've said it 100 times, if I said it 1,000,000 times, the point needs to be said over and over, which is your mental thoughts, your emotional stresses cannot be understated. Okay, your emotional stresses significantly impact your gut. They impact your cardiovascular system, as I've just stated here. So please pay attention to that. So some things to consider are 5 to 10 minutes of mindfulness, whether that's quieting your mind and closing your eyes, whether that's full-on yoga or meditation, whatever the case is, I highly suggest you start employing this in your life, especially if you're somebody who does have a long job where you're working long hours. If you have a lot of emotional stressors going on where you're feeling really, really tired all the time, your level of energy is a big indicator. In the 17 years plus that I've been practicing, your energy is a big indicator of how healthy you are functioning. Okay, so if you're run down and tired all the time, this is not a good thing. So definitely start making some changes. All right, I have time for one more question, and it comes from Jennifer, and she says, I have had hives break out for the last 6 weeks. I've never had this happen before and would like to know your advice on this. I'm not sure if it's a sudden allergy, gut issue, or autoimmune stress. William Beaumont, his claim to fame was that he was the first doctor on record anyway who could attach emotions to physiology. And so he followed around this French-Canadian hunter, Alexis St. Martin, and he there was this 19-year-old Canadian shot a hole in his gut on accident, and so there was a hole there, and Beaumont followed him around for a while, I mean years. And what he found was that when this young man would get angry and clench his jaw, he would look into that little hole, that little window, and he would see that his stomach would clench. When this young man would cry, or when he would be really, watery-eyed, he would see secretions in his stomach. When he would be embarrassed or turn red in the face, he would notice also that his stomach would turn more red in color. So William Beaumont is the first doctor, this is back in the late 1800s, that noted your thoughts, what's going on with your mind, and your mental state affects your gut. And in practice, I see this all the time too. So when you have hives, anyone listening, not just Jennifer, but most always, we're already stressed. Then we reach for candy, we reach for comfort food, right? And then we get these skin breakouts. Your skin is your largest organ in your body, in your body. Your skin is the largest organ. Inside your body, it's the liver. On the outside, it's the skin. And so your liver and skin have very much a very close relationship. So a lot of skin issues are liver related, but also hives and rashy things are pancreatic, carbohydrate related. Okay, psoriasis, eczema, more fat protein related, more liver related. So I can touch more about that in a future episode. So hives break out, emotional stressor. This is usually the first thing that happens. Then we reach for these refined sugars, alcohol, things like this, and we get these hives breakouts. With everything I've discussed here, a really good first line of defense is a digestive enzyme. So I definitely would recommend that to start all of your meals to help you digest your fats, your carbs, and your proteins even better. So I hope that you have enjoyed this episode of my Q&A. I will add these in frequently. If you want to ask a question, I'd love to answer your question live on Smart Digestion Radio. So what you could do is join my Facebook inner circle. That's healthyrebelsfb.com to join. It's free, and you're going to get more access to me there too. I usually answer live questions in the group most Saturdays. So that's healthyrebelsfb.com, and you could ask me a question that I could feature here on the show. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I will talk to you next time. All right, that concludes another amazing episode of Smart Digestion Radio. But as you know, the conversation doesn't have to stop there. Join me over on my Facebook page, facebook.com/The Digestion Doc. That's a good hub for everything else. TheDigestionDoctor.com and OmegaDigestion.com are my other sites. Thank you so much for being a part of the movement. And the movement is to save 5 million lives from the broken medical model. I'm very passionate about this, and I cannot do it alone. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to help spread the word. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time. All right, that concludes another amazing episode of Smart Digestion Radio. But as you know, the conversation doesn't have to stop there. Join me over on my Facebook page, facebook.com/The Digestion Doc. That's a good hub for everything else. TheDigestionDoctor.com and OmegaDigestion.com are my other sites. Thank you so much for being a part of the movement. And the movement is to save 5 million lives from the broken medical model. I'm very passionate about this, and I cannot do it alone. So thank you so much for taking time out of your day to help spread the word. Thank you guys, and I'll see you next time.